Hi, I'm Wayne Alaroot for Personal Liberty. You know the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, it's not true. What just happened in Vegas and the entire state of Nevada is what's happening across the country. Nevada Republican leaders are, without a doubt, the stupidest Republicans in America. Not just stupid, but traitors and liars. They committed fraud upon their own voters. But wait, it's coming to the rest of you too. What just happened in Nevada is what's destroying this great country. If Republicans are this bad, then there is no one left to save us or defend us. This is precisely why America is in such trouble. First, because all the politicians of both parties have one goal in life: spend as much money as possible, and of course their attitude is, who cares? It's other people's money. Second, all the politicians are bought and paid for by giant multi-billion-dollar corporations, lobbyists, and lawyers. And the third problem is there is no competition. There are only two parties, a moderate Democratic Party and a Communist Party, filled with radical Marxists who want to destroy the economy, kill capitalism, and redistribute wealth. Unfortunately, the Republicans are the moderate Democrats, and the Democrats have become out and out socialists and communists. There is no party that gives a hoot about the citizens, taxpayers, or the U.S. Constitution. Want to understand truly how bad it really is? Look no further than the Nevada Republican Party. Like the rest of America, the Nevada GOP enjoyed a landslide victory last November. We won everything: governor, lieutenant governor, all 5 constitutional offices, the state Senate, and the state assembly. This was the first time the GOP controlled all of that since the 1920s. The voters spoke loud. They wanted smaller government, lower taxes, and less spending. Not only that, but a ballot referendum supporting a business margins tax on corporations was voted down by a 3-to-1 margin. That's amazing. 3-to-1. You ever hear of a defeat like that? This was the most anti-tax, anti-big government sweep of a lifetime. You'd think the people that won would get the message, right? Wrong. So what did the Nevada GOP do with such a magnificent mandate? They rewarded the same conservative anti-tax voters who had just given them a mandate to hold down the size of government spending and taxes with a plan for the biggest tax increase and spending increase and increase expansion in the size of government in Nevada history. And with the help of a Republican Senate and Republican Assembly, it passed last week. Our business taxes just grew by $1.5 billion. Worse, this isn't an old-fashioned business tax on profits. This is a tax on revenue. So companies that break even or lose money now owe massive new taxes. Many of my friends are now making plans to move their businesses out of the state of Nevada. Let's make sure you get this straight. We elected Republicans in a landslide to control every office in Nevada and voted down new taxes by a 3-to-1 margin just so Republicans could hand us the biggest tax increase in history and dramatically expand the size of government. And then, in a sign of pure insanity or delusion, Republican legislators rubbed salt in the wound in the Nevada newspaper, the Review-Journal. Republican leaders gloated over the massive record-setting tax increase they just passed. One of them proudly stated, "We proved Republicans can pass tax increases." The Republican politicians of this state are the stupidest Republicans in America. Let's examine honestly and openly what they've done. Here are the 5 sins of the Nevada GOP, and trust me, they're coming to a state near you. Number 1, stupidity. It's not a crime to support higher taxes. There's a fair and honest debate. If you support raising taxes, you have every right to your opinion, but you need to switch parties to the Democratic Party. If you stand for raising my taxes, what would make you different than a Democrat? Who needs Republicans to pass the biggest tax increase in Nevada history? We could have easily elected Democrats to do just that. The Nevada GOP's response to a massive historic landslide was to do exactly what Democrats would have done. And you're bragging about it? You're so dumb. You don't even understand your own party's platform. Or maybe, like Nancy Pelosi, you have to pass the bill so you can read what's in it, you morons. You're clearly either confused, delusional, in the wrong party, completely misunderstood the landslide that you won, or you're frauds and con men. I vote for the last one. Number 2 is ignorance. In business and politics, branding is everything. If people don't understand or remember your brand, you're out of business. The Democratic Party brand is tax and spend and increase the size of government. Got that? The GOP brand is lower taxes, less spending, and reduce the size of government. Those are facts. They're written in each party's platform, their own personal constitution. What the Nevada GOP just did was suicide. You're morons. When you're alone at night, do you press sharp objects against your skin? Do you cut yourselves? Because you are clearly mentally ill. This is how a person who hates themselves puts themselves out of business. Your brand is lower taxes. You won in a landslide with that brand, yet you voted for the biggest tax increase in history, and you thought no one would notice? Number 3, betrayal. Even dumber. You betrayed the trust of your own base, your most loyal supporters. You violated the most important rules of business. First rule is that the customer is always right. Second rule, if your customer is wrong, refer back to the first rule. You just stabbed your biggest supporters in the back. Name any business in America where any smart businessman would screw his own base of most loyal customers. This would be like a hip-hop urban radio station deciding to play country music for its urban audience that hates country music. Bizarre? Result? They'd be out of business within days if their radio station wasn't burned to the ground by angry mobs. Lesson learned? Never bite the hand of your own customer. Only the smug establishment GOP could be this stupid and arrogant. Number 4, sin, fraud. GOP leaders are bragging about committing fraud. If they wanted to pass the largest tax increase in history, no problem. Why didn't they campaign on that idea? Why didn't they say, I'm proud to be running as a Republican and I promise to pass the biggest tax increase in Nevada history? But instead, they lied and misrepresented. Why? Because they could never have been elected telling the truth. Isn't that the definition of fraud or bait and switch? They lied to their own customers about their own product and what it does. Now, here's the big question. Who paid them? Because anyone could see this is about bribery. It's a clear-cut case of scandal and corruption. Someone in the GOP has been promised millions in a Swiss bank account, or $1 million lobbyist jobs, or $1 million corporate jobs. That's the only possible reason these Republican leaders are so smug, so giddy at the idea they've just lied to and backstabbed their own voters. Someone is celebrating the prospect of being set for life. Number 5, never miss an opportunity to shoot yourselves in the foot. Nevada is next door to California. The People's Republic of California now has the highest taxes in the nation. Good for them. Good luck. Rich people, middle-class people, and small business owners are leaving in droves. Wait, it gets worse. California is so dumb, they just voted to give Medicaid to illegal immigrants. California is insane and about to go bankrupt. They owe over $200 billion in debt, and within 5 years, they'll be unable to pay their bills. They will need a federal bailout. Everyone with money is making plans to leave. Wouldn't this be the perfect time to showcase Nevada as the perfect alternative? Wouldn't this be the perfect time to showcase us as the lowest tax state in the nation? As the state that protects taxpayers and business owners? Who would be dumb enough to ruin that brand at this perfect moment in time where we could capture a large portion of the tax refugees living next door? Nevada could have gotten all the makers, the rich people and business owners who give to society and pay into the system who are running away from California, and the takers would have stayed in California. Sounds like a brilliant plan to me, but we blew it. The answer to who could be that dumb is the Nevada Republican leadership. Don't elections have consequences? Aren't the winners supposed to reward their supporters, not screw them? Aren't the winners supposed to impose their agenda? I'd be arguing this if a GOP won in a landslide and kept the status quo. But they didn't keep the status quo. They went much further than that. They passed the biggest tax increase in history. And what did the voters get? They got screwed by their own party. Bernie Madoff has nothing on the Republican governor and leaders of Nevada. Now, you have every right to believe in higher taxes and dramatically increased spending and bigger government. But then you've got to switch to the Democratic Party. You can't be a Republican who opposes the central tenet of your own platform. That's like opening a kosher restaurant specializing in pork and shellfish. That's like being the chairman of the largest feminist organization in America and filling your board of directors with men who abuse women. You've committed fraud and backstabbed and abused your own best customers. And for that, you will all pay a big price in the next election. I promise you. I guarantee it. I'm Wayne Alaroot for Personal Liberty. See you next week. God bless America and save us from the socialists and communists and radicals who hate America in the Democratic Party and the traitors, cowards, and corruption of the Republican Party. Bye-bye.